Right. Good morning. We're going to do a little bit of coding on a weekend challenge that we presented to our students, the Comments Challenge. In the beginning of the Rails week, we built a little application where we were listing some articles, like news articles, on the site. And that's about it. And what we want to do now is to allow people to kind of comment on those articles, right? So we've seen that pattern on many websites. I think that it's quite common that you have something listed, and then underneath that listing or whatever it is, you are able to add some comments to it, like I think this is a great article, or I don't agree with you, and stuff like that. So today we're going to build a very simple comments thing, and in order to get the right requirements, I'm going to go to the course documentation and have a look at what we actually want, and we're going to build just that and nothing else, of course. So let's see if we can get this open. Thank you. Ruby on Rails Weekend Challenge. Right. Comments Challenge. This Weekend Challenge will be extending the basic Rails application that you created at the beginning of the week, right? During the acceptance unit test cycle with Rails, right? So you want to add a feature that allows visitors to comment on published articles. Visitors should be able to comment on an article and optionally provide their email address that will be displayed together with the comment. In practical terms, we want to see a form underneath each article allowing visitors to make comments. If there are comments on an article, they should be displayed. Make sure that comments are displayed under the right article, of course, right? Another feature is to display the comments link if he has provided commenter's link if he has provided an address. You should add a validation that makes sure that the email address is valid. We don't want to display badly formatted emails now, do we? So Thomas at Gmail without a suffix or a bad prefix should not be accepted, basically. So please follow the acceptance unit test cycle to drive your development and commit your changes each time you write a new test, even if it fails. And each time you make a test go green, we will evaluate you by your commit history. So please follow this in a strict way, right? And the learning objectives here are, of course, practice the acceptance unit test cycle and learn about adding associations between models belongs to has many. And also learn about nested routes in Rails. Okay, no drama, in my opinion. Any questions about that, people? No questions. It's all crystal clear, right? Okay, so let me just see if I can get this thing up and running. So I'm just going to do Rails DB drop. I want to drop the database because I've been working on this before. And then I'm just going to do a Rails DB setup. That's compose command, which sets up the database for me and runs the migrations. Looks good. I'm going to run bundle just for the sake of it. It looks okay. And then I'm going to run both my RSpecs and Cucumber commands. And I can do that by just typing rake. And if you're in the Rails environment and just say rake, that will actually run both your RSpec tests and your Cucumber tests, basically. And all seems to go green, all good. I can check out a new branch and call it comments, right? And let's see if we can start by adding a feature, because it all starts with a story, right? So user or reader adds comment. Reader can comment on article.feature. And I want my feature files to be named like with a descriptive file name, basically. So I can, just by looking on the file names, be told what this feature is all about, basically. So I think that's a good thing to do. So in this one, I want to start by saying feature user can comment on an article, and as a user of the news service, in order to express my opinions, I would like to be able to comment on any given news article, something like that. Does that sound okay? So it's all right. I would really appreciate if we could have a discussion about those things. Does this seem viable?
I think yes.
All right. Okay. So this is a new feature file, right? So what sort of a story can we tell here? There are certain things that could happen, like some potential scenarios, basically. Can anybody give me an example of a scenario title that could be like the happy path? We sometimes start with it, or we should start with the happy path. What could be a happy thing here? How can we name this scenario?
There's
okay, like a user can successfully leave a comment.
User can successfully leave a comment, right? Something like this?
Yes.
Okay, so there are certain things that needs to happen, right? What do we need? Now, if we think about those three things that we always have to do in a file, in a test, we have to have the application in a certain state. We have to do some things, and then we need to assert certain things. Could anybody help me with formulating this scenario somehow?
Given I visit the landing page.
All right. Given I visit the landing page, and what will happen there?
And then you click on the article.
And I click on what?
In this case, it's show article. Click on show by the title of a specific article. So in this case, if we use our background, it's learning Rails, for example.
Okay, we don't have a background here.
Okay, will we?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think we need to use the background that we had in create articles feature.
All right, we do that. It's not a bad idea. I think it's a really good idea. Oh, and what does that background does for us?
It populates the database.
All right. And so are you saying that there should be like a show button here or something, or what do we want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a link or button there.
How about having the title be a link?
That would be even better.
Any objections, people?
No objections.
That's better.
Okay, so I click on learning Rails, like something like this. Perhaps we can remove this. So I click learning Rails. Or should we have on? All right, never mind. Okay, what else should happen here?
Once you click on Learning Rails, you should be redirected to the page. So then I should see Learning Rails, or I should be on the Learning Rails page.
Okay. Like this?
Yes.
Okay. And what else? Now, my friends, I know it's Monday morning, but this is not even coding. It's just about telling a story. So wake up, guys.
If you write, and I should see a comment field.
Okay. Now, if you have any other opinions, guys, just go ahead. Otherwise, we're gonna write this up.
What's the I?
Anything else?
I didn't know. No, yeah.
Maybe the comments should be string or something.
Once again, should I come on?
The comments in string.
In comment.
It's a string.
I don't follow. Can we focus on user actually leaving the comment? Could somebody tell me how we can leave a comment on an article?
Can fill in the form, like you know. So if you have a form with 2 fields, you have to fill them in, which kind of makes.
How can I say that in Cucumber?
Well, first of all, I'm just spitting out stuff here. If we
all right, cool.
If we do the fill in thing, like if you fill in, you know, say we have a field that's, you know, your comment and one that is email or whatever, like doesn't that make the step we just created, you know, unnecessary? Because if we can fill in that, then we already know that the comment field exists. Or is it necessary for the story? It's kind of like an open question, if you know what I mean. In thinking of tests, what do you think about that? Like making pre-assumptions, if you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. The question is everybody else on board?
Just to understand what you mean, Alfred, you mean that we shouldn't test that there is a comment box, or?
No, it was kind of an open question, because I think that's how I would do it, but I don't know if that's the right way to do it, because like I would think, like if I say, right, instead of saying like I should see a comments field, I would just right away, you know, pre-assume that there is a comments field. I just say, and I fill in this and that, because if I can fill in that, then I like that also sets as there is a comment field, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's how I've done it, but that's maybe like the wrong way to do a story.
So you are very polite, Alfred, and I appreciate that. But in order to be productive, we need to try to just you know, give examples of concrete.
But that was just something I thought about. Sorry. Well, you can fill in what should we call in the form? Like if you do it like you can say fill in like email with whatever, or yeah, let's do that. With like some random email, random@email.com or something.
All right.
And you also fill in, can call it comment, maybe. I fill in comment with random comments, or, you know, whatever you want.
And what do you want?
Star Trek Discovery.
That's a comment? Okay, that's cool.
Oh, why not? It is a comment.
All right. Right. And what else?
And I click on the, what should we call it? Create comment button or link.
Something like this?
Yeah.
All right. So, and then what?
Then let's see. What do we Okay, sorry, you can do that.
No worries.
Shut up.
Then I should see your comment was added successfully. Like,
All right.
or you can just see the comment. I don't know if, but I think it's nice to get.
Did you change your mind? Should I rewrite something or?
No, I'm just thinking if depends how you set it up, but it's always nice to get that confirmation message that it was successful.
Right. So I should see that your comment was added successfully. Should I make another anything else?
Yeah, you should see the comments you created as well.
Yes. And added is without the N.
And I should see this Star Trek Discovery as a comment, right? That's what I should see?
Yeah, you should see
All
Star
right.
Trek Discovery.
Okay. Okay, so like if we just take a look at this, so I visit the landing page and I click on the learning click on learning Rails, which is this. Well, I don't have a learning Rails. I don't have learning Rails. I have learn Rails 5. Should we go to that?
Yes.
Right. Right, and then I should be on the landing Rails page, and then I should see a comments feed. Is there anything we can cut away here, in your opinion, guys?
Well, in my opinion, you could cut away the comments field. But that's what I
Oliver,
think,
Lisa?
you know.
Yeah, I agree with Alfred.
Lisa?
Yeah, I think you can go ahead and delete that.
Okay. So, in my opinion, I would say that we could make sure that we can cut away this as well. Actually, there's no need to make that assumption here, as Alfred suggested. If you can, you know, if you can start filling this in, then you probably, you know, are seeing that. But this could actually be interesting at the end of the thing, of the scenario here, because once you've created that comment, you should be redirected back to the same page, right? You should still be on the learning Rails page.
Yeah.
And you should see some stuff, right? So I think that this one makes more sense at the end of the scenario. Okay.
Also, I think that after when I fill in email with random email, you can write when I fill in email with randomemail.com instead of the and there.
Okay. Something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I. And after I click on create comment, then I should be on the learning Rails page and see all the successes.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you, people? All of this?
Yes.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. So spending some time writing this story. I mean, this story makes sense to me. I think it's good, and it's very important that this, you know, stories like that are written in perhaps not in a huge mob session, because it becomes hard to do. But you know, one developer shouldn't. I mean, a developer shouldn't be alone when writing this stuff, because he can miss things like logical stuff, and also, you know, having a low file to fall back on and stuff like that is also important. So you can define what is actually going to happen here. This is a pretty straightforward thing. You go to the landing page, right? You click on the Rails 5 article, and then you start. You know, we just implicitly assume that we are on a page that allows us to make comments. We create those comments, and we make some assertions that we should be on that page and we should see some stuff, right? Okay, so let's just run this thing. Let's see if we can make this a little. There we go. Cucumber features reader can comment on an article feature. Right. So given that visit landing page is not here, which surprises me a little bit, and I click on not there when I fill in. Okay, let's just grab all of this stuff. And we go over to our step definitions. We have some basic steps. Right. On the visit delay, so I have another one that is called given I am on the landing page, so I can probably reuse that, right?
Yeah.
Right, so let's do that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we can remove this one. It's not necessary anymore, right? And I click on the something, right? So we're just going to say element and click link or button, right? Something like this?
Yes.
Right, I fill in, this is like field, and this is value, right?
Yes.
So I fill in something with something. We're just going to do a very simple capybara command, fill in field with value, right?
Yes.
Right. I click on the something button. So we can probably skip this one, right? We can just say click on, right?
Yeah.
So we're just going to remove this. Right. And then I should be on the something page, right? So we're going to have page or so article title, right? This is the we say we should be on the Learning Rails page, right? So we need to make sure that so here we need to do two things, in my opinion. We need to get the article from the database, right? And how can we do that? Well, we can use the find by command. And what do we want to search for? Well, the title, right? We have a title on it. Or is it name? Let's. Right, so we find this article by the title. And let's just have make sure that we are doing the right thing here. So we have a title, not name. That's good. So we can search for that by that in the database. Are we on board with that?
Yeah.
Lisa?
Yes.
Oliver?
Yes, again.
Oh, I didn't hear that, so I'm sorry. You know, this technology are not always working. So then we need to expect. So this is a then step. So we need to expect something, right? So we expect current path. Know that we have this helper current path to equal something, and what should it equal? Well, it should probably an article path. I know that from before, but you know. There is always a path. If we use the resources properly, there is always a path for that specific object. So if we're showing one instance, then it's going to be an article path, and that needs to have the ID of the article passed in as an argument. That's really important. So we could do something like this, article.id, because every article has an ID. We can and this is really important to remember, our active record is very intelligent, so we don't have to pass in article.id. We only need to pass in article, because then it will automatically know where to go, basically, and that's very smart, I would say. So let's just start with that. It's not the end of the world if you would say .id here, but it's just simply not necessary. All right. So now we have those things. This is, of course, could be subject to some refactoring because it will fail for us because we don't have this URL defined yet, basically. So what should I do now?
Run it.
All right, let's do that. Right. Okay, so here we are. It's failing for me I click on Rails 5 link. Now, in those 3 layers or tiers that we're talking about, where are we now when we get an error message saying unable to find link or button?
On the view.
And what layer is that? What do we refer to it? How do we refer to it?
The view.
Nope.
Oh, what was it?
So we refer to this as the presentation layer, right? Have you heard us say that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't
Right.
find the word.
Right. So it's a presentation layer. So and of course the view. You were right on target. I was just looking for that expression, or presentation tier or whatever. But it's about how we present the stuff that we have in our application. So let's just go to that view. But I assume that we know where we are. We're on the landing page, right? And we're supposed to see a link, basically, and we're not seeing that link. So let's go to that articles thing. And we see here that we are listing our articles, but this is just a paragraph and it's not a link, right? So how do we change that? Well, we can do something like link to article title. Then we say article path. Like that, right? That will produce a link for us, right? And what is link to? Does anybody know what that is?
It's a Rails helper. I don't know.
It's a Rails helper. It's definitely a Rails helper. And is this so what will the article title be?
Well, be the link or
Maybe we need to back
What
down
exactly are you
what is
asking?
an article read.
Learning Rails link.
Yeah.
Title.
So it will be it will be the what is displayed, right? Is that what I'm hoping for, at least? I don't know. Can anybody check the documentation how link to is constituted? I mean, so every link needs to display something. Like in this case, we want to show the title, and then it needs to have a href, right? Could somebody just do a Google search on how link to works, or do you want me to do that? Hello?
It should work like you used it.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Differenting I think so, at least. Like I'm just looking at like I've done it, but I have like the.
Did you check the documentation or?
Yeah, I brought it up quickly, but it's not like I didn't have time to But you have like the link to and the visual layer and then the path.
Right.
Like in the big terms, you've done it right. But yeah.
Right. So we have a link to, and then some text, and then the path. Right. So this, what I did, should hopefully work if we have an article path. And let's run this and see what error message we get. Right. So we got an undefined method article path, right, on that view, because now this is interesting because we actually took a step back. Before, on the previous run, we got a green on this, given I'm on the landing page, and now we're taking a step back because there's something wrong with this link, I would say. So let's have a look at that. And what I know by experience, and at some point you will understand this too, well, that if you are linking to a path and you don't have that path, you will get an error on it. So we need to go into the config folder and the routes file, and we don't have any resources here, right? So we need to, the only path we have in this application so far is the route path that points to the index action of the articles controller. But what we want to do now is to have this thing, have this a full set of routes. Hold on, what? Ta den 3 längre. I'm sorry, guys. My wife is just texting me for some random stuff. So we need to check out the routes because we added all the different routes for an article resource, and now we can see that we have the show action as well. And if I run this feature now, we should get another error message, and that is that the action show could not be found in the articles controller, right? And this means that we need to go into the articles controller and see if there is a show action in that controller. And we find our controllers in the controllers folder. We go to the articles controller, and we notice that there is only one action here, and that is the index action. So could anybody tell me what I should do now?
Define the show action.
Yeah.
And how do I do that?
You write def show and
then what?
End. Then it's to close it.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, sorry. Right, and that's it, right? Question mark here. Is this it?
Yes, because that's all the test is asking us to do.
Exactly. All right, so let's run the test again. Right. Now, articles controller show is missing a template for this request format and variant. This is some error message that you guys will probably not get. So let's have a quick look on why that is happening. Application article. Why would you get that? Action controller base. That's a very interesting. That's a very interesting error message. Why would this show?
Do you have a show view template?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Good question. Not to my knowledge. So let's create that, right?
Should solve it.
Something like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if we can get another error message now. Right. So that solved the problem. Good catch. And now I have a problem that when I fill in email and stuff like that, right? So what should I do now?
Well, if you just want to meet the requirements, you could just create a form.
Right. Of course, what we need to do here now is to take a look at the previous. There is a step missing here. Like, I would say that we would probably need to a scenario here that we can actually navigate to this page and see some stuff, like, you know, the basic information about the content of this article, but we can skip that for the sake of this demo. What happens is that we are displaying an empty page without any content. You know, we don't see the article, which is of course not a good thing. Are you following?
Yeah.
Right. So I will just quickly add that to the action here, because in this articles controller, we need to actually say, you know, article equals article find. And how do we find something? Do we know that?
Params.
And what?
ID, I think.
ID, right. And then, so
Do you think, I mean, do you think for us it's more, of course it works.
Sorry.
Well, we can just say H1. Well, no, okay. H1 article title, right? And then we just want to do like a paragraph, and that's going to be an article body, right? Where is it, body, or is it content? Content. Right. So let's just do show me the page, so we can we can have this up and running. Now we can do a manual assertion, you know, just say then show me the page, so we know that we are actually seeing what we need to see. There we go, in basic steps, and we say save and open page, right? Save and open page, is that it? Yeah, I think so. Of course, we need to check whether we have the gem launchie here. No, we don't. Right. You see, so what we're doing is like, we told this story, and now we're working our way through the different error messages and through the different things that we are dealing with, right? So if we just do run this feature again and see if we can pop this up open, we are actually seeing that Rails 5 article. That's progress, right? It's much easier to converse if people are actually answering, but it's of course up to you.
Yeah.
Right, let's see. Good. So now we want to start adding like a form or something, right? It says steps. Does it say steps? So I'm going to refactor this. It should say steps. Okay, so let's have a look at this show thing. and I'm going to do form. I'm just going to do a form tag to start with. No, let's say form with, and then I'm going to point to a URL. And what URL do we want to post to? I don't think I can do form with. So, right, I can't do that. I need to update my Rails version. Okay, so we're gonna do it the hard way. So if you have this kind of problems, you can remove the gem file lock and just run bundle. Right, good stuff. So now I just migrated over to a higher version of Rails, so I can use those helper methods that I want to use actually. Keep on asking questions, people, because this is stuff that you need to do yourself at some point. So we do a form with and URL to somewhere and article comment comments path, perhaps, I don't know. And we need to, because we need to identify the article, so we need to pass in the article somewhere. There we go. And let's see what will happen if I run this. And this is tricky because this is like technical stuff that has to do with Rails. So I will probably have to Google a little bit in a second. Right, so we have a syntax error on line 5. Unexpected keyword ensure expecting keyword end. Why would that happen? Let's see. So here's this is tricky, basically, right? So first of all, we need to check out the form with helper, right? See what's up. This is a blog post. I think I linked to that blog post at some point. So we can just go and have a look at that. Form with URL, do form, users path, form with. Oh, so look, I missed. It needs to be an equal sign because it actually renders the form. So that's the first error. So let's see if that helps us somehow. At least changes the error message. Users syntax error unexpected.
You need the and as well.
Do I?
Well, you have a do.
Right, but we're in Haml.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Then I don't know. I forgot a bit about Haml.
Right. So first things first. Let's try to make sure that everything else is working. Well, we can exclude certain things, like in the routes file. We need to do those nested routes. Like we since we are dealing with articles, with comments that will be part of the article URL structure, we need to do something like this. Something like this. We need to nest those two routes into each other. And what will happen now is that if we do Rails routes, just need to know. I mean, this is the how thing basically. So if I show my routes table now, we can see that there is like a post request to article comments, right? That is made up of like slash articles, then slash a numeric value, which will be the article ID, and then the comment, like comments, right? And that will hit the comments create action, right? And that's a post request. If we want to list them, that's a GET request to the same URL, basically. So it's definitely article comments path, which is also what I used here, I think. Article comments path. And we're passing in that article. And the reason why we're passing in this article is because we need this article ID being set. Now, does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, Lisa?
Yeah.
Wait, please commit your changes and stash them before.
And Oliver?
Why?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, and Maritza?
Yeah.
Okay, so now because this is very important, it's very often that we end up with using like routes that needs to understand certain things about its parents or children, basically, so those paths, those nested routes are really important as a concept, right? Anyway, we get this and we still get that error probably, or do we? Yes, we do. So syntax error unexpected, and an unexpected parentheses. Why would that be? Form with URL. Let's have a look at his syntax. I don't know what that is. So we're gonna have to Google that. And we just do this really quickly, saying for Rails 5 form with then unexpected. Compile error in Ruby. Well, we can also say HAML, so we know that we're dealing with HAML. Syntax unexpected keyword, then sure, let's have a look. Form 4. Okay, so this could be triggered by the fact that we have an empty form. Could that be it? So what if I do form label email? Oh, fuck. There we go. Let's see if that actually helps us with something. Yeah. Good. That was the error. So it was an empty form, and Rails did not like that for some reason, or HAML didn't like it. The error message was really bad, in my opinion, because it didn't actually show us where to go. But we tried something, filled in stuff, so we prevailed, at least. We changed the error message. That's the important thing. All right, so we have a form with a label, and now we do a form. Where is it? Text field. Email. Then we probably do form label comment, right, or something, and then we do comment, and then we just do form submit. And we wanted this to be what? We wanted to create comment. We want to say create comment, right? like this. All right, let's see what happens now. No visible field email that is not disabled. Well, let's have a look at that. We know that we have a field, right? Email. So there's something that is like not nice. Oh, we already have. Yeah, we have that. So we have email and we have comment.
It's a capital E, right? That's the problem.
Yeah. So here's a problem with Cucumber 3, Samba or Capybara. So, you know, we used to be able to identify those things with by the label, and now we cannot do that. So we just gonna do this here, down case. We're just gonna fill in this field name, but downcased, and see if that actually helps us somehow. Right. That's good. So we could fill in those things, but there's another problem. We cannot click on the create comment thing, but it says create comment. Let's inspect this again. And value create comment. Yeah, disable create, disable data create comment. It should be able to click on that thing. Go ahead. So I'm going to use another thing. I'm going to say find
Show, right?
Didn't you just get a routing error, Thomas?
No, I didn't.
Article
Oh, I did. Ah, do you see?
So it did work.
It's really important to read the error message. I was too faster. Good catch. Thank you for that. Yeah, we have no comments controller. Okay. So what we do now is, of course, we make use of the Rails generator, and we want to generate a controller, and the controller needs to be called comments. And what do we want? We want the create action created in that controller. So Rails generate controller, it's a command, and if you don't know this command, just check out the documentation for all the generators that are available. We need to pass in a name, and we all know that controllers are always in plural. Shit. And also it says right here it should be called comments controller, right? So and then we want the create action added to that controller. So that's what we want to generate instead of creating it ourselves. We want to do this. And now the problem here is that it creates two views for us. We will not be using those views because we are generating the form to create that that controller in the show action and the show template for articles. So these views are totally redundant for us, right? So we're just gonna delete them. We don't want them for anything. But here we are. We have the create action, and I can run my my scenario again and pay more attention to the error messages. But we are getting a routing error saying that we want to. Why would he say that? Action control URL. Yeah, so there's no action show on the articles page. Well, in the articles controller that allows us to go to nil. You know, to go to nil on the on that. Yeah, that allows us a nil value on the ID, and the reason for that is because we have a problem in our feature file. Again, when we started to draft this, we used Learning Rails but we know that we are on the learn Rails. We don't have anything that is called learning Rails. So we just need to change this, right? You done with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we will get another error, but at least it's not that one. Right. So now we expect it to be on the articles show page, but we got another page that is the show action of the, or the create action of the comments. That's because we are not telling the comments controller to go anywhere else. We all know that the create action always renders the create view in that folder. We just remove that folder, right? So we just we need to start building this create controller action and actually tell it what to do, basically, right? At this point, I will just set a binding pry here, just so I can start just to take a look what we actually have in those params and how we can do things, basically. Right. So if we take a look at the params now, this is tricky now, people. So we can see that we have the email of random@email.com. We have the comment saying Star Trek Discovery. We've hit the commit button. We have the controller, but we also have this, and this is important. We have the article ID key and value, right? So in order to be able to do anything at all, we need that article. So I would say a very similar setup that we had in the previous controller, just saying article equals article find and then params. But now we cannot just say ID like we did before, but we need to say article ID, because that's the name of that key, right? And this is also important. The params is a hash, even though the class name is slightly different. It says action controller parameters, but it's a hash, so it behaves like a hash. So in order to get the value of article ID, I use the way we always access values in a hash, and that's why we talk about hashes, because so you can do things like that in Rails, right? So now we get the article back, and that's good for us, right? We're gonna need this for something, so we can grab this code and we can go to our create action, and we store it here, right? And then the next thing we want to do is the last thing. I'm going to leave a space in the middle. The last thing I want to redirect to article path for that article that we just fetched, right? Article like this, right? But here we actually want to create this comment. All right, before we render back to the article path, we want to create that comment. And so we wanted to say something like comment dot create, right? And then we want to set the email to params email, right? Because that's the email we want to set to, right? And then the comment should be whatever is set in whatever we send in, right? Like this. But then we also need to set we need to associate this comment with an article. Okay, so we need to say we know that we will have an article ID as a foreign key, and then we want to set that article ID to this article ID that we all just fetched. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So let's do this, and we can just make this a little smaller. Okay. So we know that we have those params. We fetch this article. We are going to create a comment, and with this now, some things before we move on.
If we have an article.
Two things. First of all, in my opinion, if you have a model called comment and then attribute named comment, that's going to sound weird, like comment, right? Doesn't that sound weird?
Yeah, it can be a bit confusing, I guess.
No.
Right. So I would probably say body or content, right? Can we settle for something?
Content is fine.
All right, let's go content.
But we are using content in another place, right?
On article.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's perfectly fine because it's an attribute of an article model. So you can use same attribute names on different models. That's not a problem. Are you okay with that?
Okay.
All right. So the second thing is that even if we have a foreign key, even, at some point, we don't have it yet, but we will have that. Even if the foreign key is called article ID, active record is intelligent, we don't need to use that. So we can do something like this, just article and article, and that association will still be made. And this is more readable in my opinion. Like it's a shorter syntax. Okay. So we can comment this out, and so we fetch the article from the database, and then we create this comment here, and we redirect back to the article path. All right, and of course, that's the method that we just built. Kind of, that's what should work for us. But we get a problem because there is nothing like comment in our database or in our data structure, I would say. This is the problem we are seeing. There is nothing. We don't have a comment model. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a git status and git add everything and git commit. Working. So the comment. Sure. Right, and push origin comments. Right, and we're going to take a break for like 5 to 10 minutes. All right, and I will set up another one where we're going to finish this off. Is that cool?
Cool.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Yes, cool.
So let me just say git remote -v. Right. So there's a Rails demo February 17 on my account that you guys can check out if you want. If you want to check out the code. All right.
Yes.
Good stuff. I talk to you guys later.
Great.
In a few.
Yeah.
Days.